Have you ever stood in a quiet morning, gazing at the endless blue sky, and wondered, am I living the right way? Is there a time when you felt like you're running against time, against expectations, against the world's definition of success, yet still found your heart restless? I once did. And then, one autumn evening last year, when I opened the small, unassuming book tucked away in the desk drawer, a copy of the Tao Te Ching, which didn't expect that just a few lines would stir my soul like an ancient violin string, resonating with a melody I'd long forgotten. Peace. Today, I want to share with you not a lecture, not a theory, but a story about a book, a journey into the self, and how it transformed the way I see the world. Whether you're in the chaos of a city, or sitting alone in a quiet room, let yourself pause for a moment. Let your heart slow down. Because today, we're stepping into the world of the Tao Te Ching, where silence isn't emptiness, but the deepest kind of speech. In a world where everything demands intervention, activation, force, the Tao Te Ching offers a paradoxical idea: to act without acting. Not laziness, not surrender, but to act in harmony with nature's flow. To let things unfold as a tree grows without haste, without struggle, yet with quiet strength. Lao Tzu wrote, "Not arguing leads to no enemies." Reference, chapter 73. This line struck me. I used to think, if I don't fight, I'll be left behind. But Lao Tzu says, it's the arguments that create enemies, that bring pain. I remember a time when I argued with a colleague over a project. Both of us were right, but both of us clung to our views. In the end, the relationship broke. No one won, only damage remained. Then I read, "The one who knows contentment is never in want." Reference, chapter 46. A simple line, but it felt like a light shining into my mind. I realized I wasn't lacking in work, money, or recognition. I was lacking satisfaction, lacking the contentment. From that day, I practiced stopping, not to be idle, but to listen, to understand. Some things arrive more naturally when we don't force them, and that's the core lesson of the Tao Te Ching: to do without harm, to act without contention, to nurture without possessing. Reference, chapter 10. I used to think, to succeed, I had to race. Now I understand, to succeed sustainably, I need to pause, and let the self be nourished by silence. I began applying the principle of Wu Wei non-action at work. Instead of demanding completion in a day, I set small goals and trusted that if I took the right step, results would come like a seed growing into a tree, and magically, I became more effective. My relationships with colleagues grew calmer, more genuine. I no longer needed to win, I just needed to be real. Before reading the Tao Te Ching, I was the kind of person who had to control everything. I mapped out every week, every day, every meal. I feared mistakes, missed opportunities, unmet standards. I thought, to achieve, I had to fight. But then, I tried something strange. Every night, before bed, I dedicated 5 minutes to do nothing. No lists, no planning, no self-criticism. Just sitting, breathing, and letting the mind be empty. At first I felt discomfort, like someone had stolen my power. But one night, I woke up not from anxiety, but a gentle feeling. A feeling I am here, I am alive. No need to do anything more, I realized. Silence isn't useless. It's the greatest source of energy. The Tao Te Ching taught me to do without harm, to act without contention, to nurture without possessing. Reference, chapter 10. I used to think, to succeed, I had to race. Now I understand. To succeed sustainably, I need to pause, and let the self be nourished by silence. I began applying the principle of Wu Wei in work. Instead of forcing completion, I set small goals and trusted that if I took the right step, results would come like a seed growing into a tree, and magically, I became more effective. My relationships with colleagues grew calmer, more genuine. I no longer needed to win, I just needed to be real. One of the most beautiful images in the Tao Te Ching is water. Lao Tzu wrote, "The noble person is like water, it nourishes all things, without competing." Reference, Chapter 8, water doesn't fight the rocks, it flows around them. Water doesn't complain when stepped on, it keeps moving. Water doesn't try to be anything else, it simply is water. I used to hate fragility. I thought, weakness is failure. But the Tao Te Ching taught me, softness isn't weakness, it's the power of adaptation. I remember a time when my boss criticized me harshly. I was angry, ready to argue, but instead of resisting, I just nodded, smiled, and said, "Thank you for your feedback." Later, at home, by the window, watching the rain, I suddenly understood. I didn't resist, but I wasn't crushed. I was like water, didn't oppose, but kept flowing. And from that, I learned to face challenges with softness. Not passive, but understanding. I realized, when you stop trying to control everything, you gain control over yourself. Lao Tzu lived over 2,500 years ago. He lived in a time of chaos, war, and instability. And he said, "The one who knows contentment is never in want." I used to think, maybe he lived in poverty, so he said that. But now I understand. It's not about circumstances, it's about consciousness. I live in an age of convenient smartphones, fast internet, nice houses, cars, good salaries, but I feel more lacking than ever. Lacking time, lacking joy, lacking real connection. While Lao Tzu, who lived in the forest, with no phones, no computers, no social media, lived a life full of peace. This made me reflect. Lack isn't about material things, it's about gratitude, contentment, and presence. I used to seek happiness in faraway places, a trip, a new job, a perfect relationship. But the Tao Te Ching reminded me, happiness lies in the present moment, where you are loved without needing to do anything. I didn't need to change my environment, I just needed to change my perspective. I didn't need to travel far to find peace. It was right here in the breath, the child's laugh, the mother's eyes looking at me. If you're feeling tired, overwhelmed, or simply want to live more gently, the Tao Te Ching is a silent, yet powerful companion. Here are 3 small habits you can start today. 5 minutes of silence every day, no thinking. Number writing, no analyzing. Just sit, breathe, let the mind be as still as a lake. You'll be surprised. The biggest problems often don't need solving, they just need seeing. Learn to not argue when someone disagrees with you. Instead of fighting, say, "I understand your point." Not agreeing, but not opposing. You don't lose your rights, you just lose tension. Work like water when facing obstacles. Don't force your way through. Adapt. Find another path. Accept that not everything needs to be won. And most importantly, know contentment. Every night, ask yourself, what made me grateful today? It could be a cup of tea, a kind word, or just a day without sickness. Contentment isn't giving up on dreams. It's freedom from endless pursuit. I can't say the Tao Te Ching made me perfect. I still make mistakes. I still feel sad, still worry, but I learned a precious thing. You don't need to be perfect to live well. Just live authentically, live gently, live like water. This small book didn't teach me how to get rich. It didn't teach me how to become famous. It didn't teach me how to win, but it taught me how to live a deep, sincere, and peaceful way. If you're seeking a single piece of advice to start your journey of change, this is what I want to send to you. Let life lead you, not by running, but by walking slowly, not by gripping, but by letting go. Try reading the Tao Te Ching. No need to read fast, no need to understand everything. Just open it, read one chapter every night. Sit silently, breathe, and let the words touch your soul. You don't need to change your entire life. Just change one mindset. That silence isn't weakness. That letting go isn't failure. That living gently is the smartest way to live. And when you finish the book, come back here not to report, but to share. Share feelings, share changes, share a line that moved you. Because the Tao Te Ching isn't just a book, it's a whisper from the universe saying, you are here, you are living, and that is enough. This is radio sharing the whisper of the universe. I'm your name, and I'll see you in the next episode. May you have a peaceful night. May you know contentment. May you live like water.